Hey G-Fans, GojiFan1993 here, and welcome to another top 5 list. This list is kind of continuing from my last list of what Godzilla 1998 did right, and so of course in this one I will be discussing what Godzilla 1998 did wrong. And also, happy Valentine's Day everybody, yay! And if you're single like me, then let's be all pissed off and angry and let's totally rip on this film. So, alright. So the first thing, in my opinion, that Godzilla 1998 did wrong was spawned the god-awful animated series. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering where that was on the other list, and you guys are probably thinking like, oh, why was that not on the good things? Because I know a lot of people like this cartoon for some reason. They give it so much praise, but oh my god, I watched like the first 10 episodes of this cartoon, and I've never been so bored. I've never hated the characters so much in a cartoon. I've never cared about the monster scenes. The animating style of it was just terrible. It was just everywhere. It was worse than like the animation style of the Spider-Man 90s cartoons, where like the characters are like constantly moving, and like the animation is just weird. It's just like awkward looking. Oh my god, I hate this animated series. It's terrible. The characters are just annoying. I don't care about them. There was no interesting character. All of them were annoying. They took all of the good things about the Nick Totopoulos character, and they just totally threw that out of the window. And like, I mean, I don't even remember if Audrey was in it, and if she wasn't good, because she wasn't good in the movie, so she wasn't good here. And the only reason people say that this is that this is like better than the movie is because Zilla Jr. can breathe fire. Ooh, cool. It doesn't make it any better in my opinion. I think it sucks. I think this whole I would much rather watch the Godzilla 1998 movie than ever have to watch that piece of shit cartoon ever again. That, in my opinion, that's one thing that this movie did wrong, was spawn that craptacular cartoon, and I'm so glad that I did not buy anything from that, because that would have been a waste of money. So, alright, I know I'm going to get a lot of people angry at me for that, but hey, it's my opinion, so deal with it. Alright, moving on. Fourth thing is a non-interesting story. So in the movie, it pretty much just plays everything safe. I mean, you know, the movie starts, you get, you know, your characters introduced, and then the monster shows up, and the military tries to figure out how to kill it, basically. And then in the end, the military ends up killing it. I mean, you know, really, it's pretty much like every other monster movie. There's really no interesting plot point or any, you know, message behind the movie or anything like that. It's just kind of. It's just a monster movie. It's really nothing, you know, anything great. I mean, yeah, you know, and it also doesn't help the fact that the characters in it, you know, most of them aren't that interesting. I mean, like I said in the last video, the only characters that I thought were interesting were Nick Totopoulos, the French agent guy, and the photographer guy with the camera. So, you know, that's just 3 characters out of a whole cast of you know, characters in this movie. So yeah, the story was not really that interesting. Alright, so the third thing is the baby Godzilla scene, or the baby Zilla scene, I should say. This was the part of the movie that I really just didn't care about. One, because it really gave off a Jurassic Park vibe, and I'll talk about that in the next point here. But for some reason, you know, I liked everything else leading up till this baby scene, and I don't know, the baby Zilla scene is just, I don't know, it just felt needlessly placed in the whole thing. Like, oh, we have to have babies of the monster, and then, you know, the human characters get, you know, locked up in the underground place, and then they all have to fight these baby Zillas and everything, and people are getting picked off one by one, and I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of like, and the baby Zillas, they really don't represent the mom at all. I mean, there's a little bit of facial like features that look like Zilla, but I mean, ultimately, they just look like dinosaurs. There's really no differentiating feature on them that looks anything different. And that whole scene, that's the part of the movie that I really get bored at. I just kind of fall asleep and I'm just like, wake me up when it gets back to Zilla showing up again. So yeah, that's another part that I think the movie didn't do right. Okay, the second point, this kind of relates to the last point. This movie ripped off Jurassic Park tremendously. Now, Jurassic Park came out, it was a huge success, and obviously I know that these guys were like, hey, let's do some things that Jurassic Park did, which is not something you need to do in a Godzilla film, is trying to rip off Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park and Godzilla, there's really no compare. I mean, that's a bunch of dinosaurs, and this is Godzilla, okay? There is a difference, alright? And yeah, like when it comes to, the ripping off Jurassic Park, the big part is with the baby Zillas. I mean, there's I think a part where they're, trying to unlock doors and they're, slipping and falling, which is what the, dinosaurs did in Jurassic Park, and, trying to find the people and all that. I think even there was there was a kitchen scene or something like that, which was also in the first Jurassic Park movie, when they're trying to find the humans. So it did rely too much on Jurassic Park, and I feel like they thought that if they did that, then people would like it, but that's not the case. So definitely ripping off Jurassic Park is not a good thing, what they did. Alright, and the number one point, which I think a lot of you guys know what this is by now, this movie tried to be Godzilla. And when, that's the thing that everyone hates about this film. That's why this film was such a failure to a lot of Godzilla fans, and some normal moviegoers as well, some mainstream people. But yeah, it tried to be something that was bigger than it, and they didn't treat it with respect. There was zero attempt to try to make any connections to the original film, anything like that. I mean, it was the director, I think, he didn't like the Japanese Godzilla, and he thought that, hey, I'm gonna make Godzilla the way I think he should be, and that's never, ever what you should do if you're trying to make a reboot of a film franchise, especially as monumental of a Godzilla. You just can't do that kind of stuff. You have to be respectful, especially if Toho gave you the rights to do that. You got to be respectful with it, because, I mean, the Japanese people are all about respect, and if you take their franchise like that and you basically, fuck it up, I mean, it's a huge disrespect to Toho and all the work that they did leading up to this film, and, and that's why, Toho deemed him as Zilla. They, no longer call him Godzilla. They trademarked this character as Zilla, and then they mock him in, in a couple future Millennium films. We all know that in, GMK, and during one of the meetings, the guy was talking about, the humans were talking, or the Americans talking about an attack in 1998, and they're like, oh, well, our sources say otherwise, that's not really Godzilla. And then obviously everyone knows in Final Wars, when Godzilla actually fights Zilla and he kills him in 5 seconds, it's just a way for Toho to say, look, this is, that's how pitiful your monster was. So when you look at a film like this, I mean, the design of, this is where I'm talking about this film as a Godzilla film and why it is terrible. So the design looks nothing like Godzilla. I mean, it's this lizard iguana looking thing that is hunched over, huge head, and doesn't breathe atomic breath, and runs away from the military a lot, and then he gets killed by 4 missiles, from the side, and he gets trapped in a bridge with all the tension wires and all that, and it wraps him up and gets him killed that way. So it's just, I mean, all of that is not what Godzilla should be. I mean, the only thing that was close to resemblance was his roar, because that was taking what Godzilla's roar was and then kind of, changing it up a little bit, making it sound a little bit more, it sounded a little bit more electronic in a way, but it still sounded cool. But I mean, that was the only feature that really resembled what Godzilla, sounded like, I guess. But overall, the film was just nothing. I mean, there was the one part in the beginning of the film where the French Asian dude puts a lighter up to this Japanese guy's face, and and he does like this weird thing, do it like putting the flames like this, and then the guy's just like Gojira, Gojira. I mean, he actually says Gojira, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's, you know, I like how they said the original Japanese name, but I mean, that part was just kind of out of nowhere, and it kind of felt like stereotypical racist in a way. I don't know. That part just didn't feel right. But everything else just didn't really fall into place. So, but yeah. So that's my list for the top things top 5 that Godzilla 1998 did wrong. If there's anything else, and I bet there's plenty that you guys have to say, put in the comments below, and I would love to read them. And yeah, so and I probably will get a lot of hate mail for that, not liking the animated series. But hey, whatever, you know, it's my opinion, so that's it. If you like the animated series, that's fine. But me, nope. And by the way, I'll never do a review of it because you guys know my opinion of it. It sucks. So I'm not even gonna waste my time with that. So yeah, I think this will be the last video I'll talk about 1998 for a while, at least when it comes to defending it, and also when it comes to basically ripping it to shreds. So I think I've done my piece with 1998, and I think I'm gonna leave it alone, stop beating the dead horse. It's been 16 years, so I think it's time we all can just, you know, let it go, alright, and just, you know, move on to the future Godzilla. So yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay big, G fans.